Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Today is July 5th, and it is our monthly GMTSS leadership session. Hope everybody is doing amazing. Super excited to see all of the smiling faces on here. And I'm super pumped with a lot of the Facebook posts that I'm seeing out there where many of your areas are absolutely cranking and making things happen. So high five on that. Huge congratulations. Way to continue to lead by example in your guys' everyone's geographic area. One quick tip as I'm thinking about it, and I don't even have this on my agenda, but because I brought up the photos, one quick tip, two things that I think we can enhance a little bit is photos. Whoever is taking photos or whoever you're assigning to take photos, make sure they get a great camera angle, okay? I mean, if the camera angle shows the room half empty and half of the seats are empty, then that's not like, woo, that was amazing. So it's not like, hey, we're on fire and half the room's empty. And yet somebody's got a room that holds 100 people. You know what I'm saying? So there was like 50 people in the room, but because we had it set for 80, then there was like a whole bunch of empty chairs. Okay. So a couple of little tips of get our physical team, regardless of whatever event we're hosting, by the way. Okay. So get our physical team to like set up 2 rows of chairs, like set it up for 20. And then we know when we got to add more chairs. And then that way it's packed from the front to the back, and then give it a good angle to where then that way, obviously it looks full. So everybody sees it's full, which again, it was a great showing. Somebody sent text, and notice when I'm thinking about it, somebody texted me a photo today from yesterday or 2 days ago. I guess it would have been Monday. They did like an HBP. Anyways, it's about angles, you guys, is the whole point. Okay. Whether it's, and somebody might say, hey, we had 5 guests, or we had 10 guests, or we had 15 guests. But if it doesn't look right, then everybody's questioning. So anyways, the point is just angles, and less photos are better based on the angle. You know what I mean? Don't feel like you got to post 10 photos if one photo tells the story. The second piece of it is testimonials. Getting a video testimonial of 15 seconds from somebody to share what an amazing UBP it was, let's say. What we're noticing on social is videos get way more traction, and especially the short ones, okay? And when I say short, I mean like really short, a minute or less. They get major traction, way better than photos do, okay? So we got to take advantage of that. And just food for thought on our promotions and what we're doing out there, okay? So one of the things I'm going to throw in the chat here is, of course, as everybody knows, we have Icon coming up. And with Icon, we have a session that's happening July 12th. And this went out all over social media today. Make sure you're sharing that with all of your business partners. I can't get into the weeds on it, into everything we're doing, but there are things we're doing, folks, that the world, let alone UFOs, don't know how to do or how to take advantage of, and so when Mark pulls the curtain back on July 12th, there isn't going to be a single person that isn't going to want to be at Icon for the value add that we are putting together to continue to make our businesses some of the hottest, one of the hottest business systems on planet Earth. If you missed it tonight, I did a special session on Master UFO, not Master UFO, but kind of. It was, you got to hit Master UFO in order to hit this, actually. But this was what are you going to do with the Dash Challenge? Achievers. And if you didn't listen, man, there were some nuggets. If anybody listened, throw it in the chat. But I'm telling you right now, I had on up and coming Annie Vidal, who's absolutely crushing it. I had on Mark Bernacki, professional coordinator, crushing it. And then I had on executive field vice presidents, Norman Mary Roth, veterans who hit the what are you going to do with the Dash Challenge, of course, because they just always hit challenges. And there's somebody who has continued in the history of the company to not only earn an incredible income, but maintain it, by the way, like absolutely always nailing it. Okay. Because they just do the basic 5. So anyways, it was outstanding. Some of the nuggets that everybody was sharing on different tips and strategies that they're using, right now in today's world in order to grow their business. And so, I just want to encourage everybody from that perspective to check out that recording. But the whole point is that everybody's committed to Icon, but there's some strategies and different things going on in the world. And it's like, what's hot? Oh, where I was going with that too, little ADD, sorry. Norm and Mary just went to a multi-speaker event in Arizona, and it was about different business systems, digital marketing, social media, all kinds of different people on the stage selling their stuff. Right. And what Norm and Mary talked about, 100% true, because I actually went to one probably 6 months ago now, same thing. And again, nothing wrong with that, by the way, not bashing anything, but the bottom line is, like Norm and Mary says, $500 to get in the door. $500 to get in the door. And then everybody's selling their course on how to do XYZ and be amazing. Right. And it's $5,000, $10,000. And yet sometimes a UFO will come up to one of us and say, yeah, but Cullen, it's $250 to get to Icon, for the ticket. And I'm like, and it's always been that way, by the way. You know what I'm saying? Like when I got started, it was $175 back then. So it was $175. And even back then there were people like, yeah, but Cullen, it's $175. I'm like, where else are you going to learn how to have control of your life and your dreams and you know what I mean? Where else are you going to, for that? I mean, but here's the point. The place was packed. Norman Mary was like, it was packed to the gills. Everybody's looking for the better way. And many of them investing $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 in this course or whatever it might be, that's going to take them to the next level. And yet, what do? We take whatever's hot and we package it in our weekend of always turning things up a notch to be on the cusp of what's hot and what's happening in the world. Okay. So just trust me on the fact that anybody who watches Mark's session and then doesn't commit to going, I don't think has a pulse at this point. And we probably should say a prayer. I'm just saying, but that's because I'm on the inner circle. So I get that was, people are like, wow, Cullen, that's kind of strong. Like, like you really believe in this thing, but I do. And it's, been doing it a long time, like many of you. Okay. But there's so many exciting things that are happening. So on a high level, I'm not going to get into too much of the weeds, but just for you guys, just so you guys are aware. And I know you guys are aware of some of this, but on Wednesday, the 23rd, so we got 10 a.m. There's a Motives custom blend training that's happening. All the trainings, by the way, are either happening at the Coliseum, in the bowl, in the arena, or where we had the breakouts last year at International Convention, which is the special event center that's kind of attached to the front end of that. Okay. But everything's over there at the Coliseum. We have our GMTSS breakout, 2:30 to 4:30 Eastern time. Then we have the unveiling of the JR Museum that's happening for challenge winners. So I highly suggest you get everybody to hit the challenge, because that's going to be a special session that we're doing at 5 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday. Okay. So that'll be awesome. And then if somebody didn't hit the challenge, well, they can go on Sunday. There's going to be corporate tours, but on the corporate tour, you can go check it out. So you just won't be there for the unveiling and the ribbon cutting and all of that. So the bottom line is hit one of the challenges, whether it's a university challenge or whether it's the, what are you going to do with the Dash challenge? You want to be a challenge winner. Okay. And we have an incredible UBP happening that night. Okay. Incredible UBP. So that's going to be Mark Ashley, Andrew Weissman, Kevin Buckman. Okay. So again, we got to get everybody there. Everybody should be there, like taking notes. I don't know too many people that spent more time with J.R. Ridinger, by the way. Right. So therefore that's why, that they're going to show the plan. So it's going to be hot. Okay. We want all our UFOs there taking notes on Wednesday night. Thursday and Friday are going to be, after the event is just on our own with our teams. Okay. So you'll be out with your teams. And then Saturday night, we're going to be doing a special session. I'm not going to get into the details. I'm going to let Mark do that, but just know Saturday night is a piece of the whole weekend. We're going to turn Saturday night into something that everybody will want to attend. See, before, not everybody could go to the gala. Does that make sense? So we're turning Saturday night into something that everybody will want to come to not only do recognition and awards, but have fun and just make it like a gala, but not extra ticket, not extra stress on everybody trying to get to a gala. Okay. So there's layers to that, but Saturday night's going to be hot. Mark's going to pull the curtain back on that. And then Sunday, we of course have, corporate tours from 10 to 4 and breakout sessions 10 to 4, just like last convention. So breakout sessions, different university breakout sessions, just like we did at last convention. Okay. So that's what the last time we got rave reviews on that. Everybody preferred to spend time with their team and go to the breakouts on Sunday. And the breakouts on Sunday were very well attended and, actually way more attended than when we did them at night, trying to make them happen. See, so we know that's what worked best. So that's why we're continuing to do that. So that's Sunday. So more to come on that. Thank you, Lisa Martin, for throwing that in the chat. Okay. Wednesday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You're amazing with the motive stuff. So everybody can take a note on that. But look, make sure everybody's just promoting that to your teams. Get everybody on Mark's session, and he'll pull more of the curtain back and give you guys everything that's going on what's happening, and to help people move some more tickets, within their teams to make sure everybody's going. By the way, hopefully everybody is paying close attention to that in your unfranchise, right? Is everybody aware that in your unfranchise, there's a dashboard that tells you who has tickets in your organization? I guess I should say, is anybody not aware of that? Maybe, because hopefully everybody in here, you guys are all leaders, so I know you guys are all aware. But here's what's cool is, and this is what, Trinity and I are working on, is I'm going down the line, and everybody who's got tickets, it's like, hey man, how are we going to move them? Let's go. But I want to wait till the week before, even though you can, as we know, but I'm like, let's do it now. Let's get with them now. Let's identify, because if they got their tickets, man, they obviously are committed mentally, but now we got to help push through the finish line. And maybe they moved a few of them, maybe they got 1 or 2 left, or whatever's going on, but let's push through and get as many, people in the seats and within our organizations to make that thing happen. And if somebody doesn't have their ticket and we don't have it within the organization, well then, get with the company and get the ticket. You know what I mean? Let's make it happen. So therefore we rock that part out. So super awesome there. One reminder, just so we're duplicating this out within the teams as well, I'm going to throw this into the chat. There's 3 apps that are must-have apps that everybody should have, and hopefully everybody's duplicating out. But the 3 apps that everybody should have is the shop.com app, of course, and then the unfranchised business app, which of course is where we can leverage the GMTSS. You can have your why, you can have your goal, all that's in there. But then you also get access to the audios through the app. That's where the audios are located. So we got to make sure everybody has that app, obviously, download. And then we got unfranchised marketing app. Those are the 3 apps that every unfranchised owner should have downloaded to their phone and be using, and for as far as, working their business. By the way, I've been communicating with a lot of the top retailers at this point, because a number of them are going to be featuring during the retailing segments of Icon. And, when you're talking to them, how many of them are using unfranchised marketing app and learning it and using the pulse, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. But a few of them are like, I was nervous at first because I didn't build it that way, but it's amazing, but see, they just had to go use it. And now they've implemented, and now their follow-up's better than ever. So absolutely amazing with that. Okay. Everybody should have received an announcement. Everybody, I should say, that are GMTSS coordinators, speaker bureau members, email went out. We have online meeting and training, ticket pricing. We had a few trainings and meetings that were still at a discount online. Okay. They were still discounted, meaning somebody could take an online basic 5 for $10 instead of in-person 15. Okay. So everything that was discounted online because of the pandemic and whatever, it's all full price now. Okay. All full price. And the goal is everybody should be in person anyways. So there's a strong feeling internally, do we even keep the online stuff going on? Because everybody doing it in person, their area, their numbers are doing phenomenal. Okay. I'm just as a GMTSS, okay, just pulling the curtain back for you guys as leaders. Okay. The ones that are, and I'm a fan of the online for many of these, but then we got to get the people in person. That's the whole point. That's where we're missing it. So some people that are full online, okay, and I'm trying to help my team and I'm all at a distance and whatever, I think that's perfect. That's what it's great for. But then when you have people at a distance that live in a geographic area that has a thriving GMTSS system, and those people are nowhere to be found in the physical part of the GMTSS, those are the areas that we're noticing we don't have a great retention rate over time. Okay. And so the name of the game is, as we know, JR would always say, keep people in the business till they see the light. Well, the only way to keep them in is two ways. First is profits, retail profit, and knowing that they're getting paid money, commissions both ways. And then the second way is they love our products. They love the people. They love the environment. They love but then at some point, if the budget is hurting and they're stressed out, then they got to make a decision. Well, it's like, okay, well then I got to stop this. You know what I mean? So that's why the retail profit's so critical. Bottom line though, is why would we give people a discount to go online when, if there's a choice, if it's 15 in person or 15 online, then the person should say, well, I'd rather be in person. I'm going to go in person. And that's the whole point. Okay. So that's why the ticket pricing is all the same. Now we are going to be watching this very, very closely. Meaning that because we're launching online and it's the same, and then all of a sudden, if I or one of the university major leaders notice an influx of trainings coming in by somebody all of a sudden, and that's online only, probably going to get a call. As a matter of fact, everybody should be running the meetings through your university leader anyways. Let's just say it like that. You should be running it through your regional director. Hey, I'm looking to do a basic 5. I'm looking to do this, and then looking at the GMTSS, making sure everything matches. And then the other thing is, from a promotion standpoint, nobody should be cross promoting into everyone else's region. So we got to stay within our region. So if I'm Shelly Bowe, and this isn't Shelly, but I just see Shelly and she's smiling, so I'm picking on Shelly. But if Shelly is all of a sudden going to offer some, she goes to Jim, who's a regional director, and says, hey, I was looking at doing one online for the region for the people that can't make it in person. I was going to do one this quarter. And Jim says, I think that's perfect. And then she hosts it. No problem. It's all great. But then we shouldn't be sharing it to every region. Next thing you know, we're going to have all these meetings and then everybody's like, okay, like everybody's just stepping on each other's toes is the whole point. Okay. So we just got to be smart about what we're doing, because we train to retain. We don't train to make money. I mean, obviously there's money in it, but we don't, as we know, I'm preaching to the choir here, but I'm just preaching to you guys because I know you're going to duplicate it out. So sometimes we got to be bringing this up within our area. If somebody isn't in the session with me, that's why they got to watch the recording. So we're all on the same page. And so therefore we're growing and making things happen, which, by the way, as a North America, we need an increase in every region in person, basic 5s, new one franchise. Because again, the regions that are doing that, crushing it. And by the way, we got some regions that are doing both, and some of them are doing online and they're doing it for free because they don't care about the money. They're just like, we got people at a distance and I'm doing a basic 5 and it's free. And so they're doing it for free. Great. That's fantastic, but at the end of the day, they're doing what it takes because they have a lot of people at a distance. And you're trying to pull everybody together, but we're not trying to take away from the fact that everybody should attend the in-person basic 5 new and franchise owner training. Because we know that as the outer ring activity happens, and then we funnel into the UBP, any area in the country, by the way, and I know you guys know this, but I'm just repeating some things tonight, but any area in the country, North America, around the globe that says our area is having an issue with the UBP. Okay. It is only one answer. And what's the answer? Who wants to help me out? What would JR say to that? Yeah, new people. Maleva, thank you in the chat. You're amazing. But new people come from what?
Showing the plan.
Showing the plan. It comes from outer ring activity. So it goes back to the whole Tony Bowling. It takes all of us for any one of us to succeed. So we got to look at our own mirror, and we got to be able to say, am I leading by example? Are other leaders in my area leading by example? If I look at my area, how many people in my area are hitting Master UFO? And again, we got certain parts of the country where it's like they've got 20 people in an area hitting Master UFO in that local area, and that local is popping, right? And then we got other areas where you got one person hitting Master UFO. And you know what? High five to that one person. Way to go. But if you want to know why one area is really popping, just like back in the day, like normal, and another area is not, it's like, well, it's outer ring activity. It's very simple. And then that's how we know the UBP is going to, grow in numbers and everything's going great. So it all starts there. We got to get the 1-on-1, 2-on-1, HBP and outer ring activity going on in order to cure that, in order to get that new, nothing like getting that new person all fired up and they're leading us to people and you get into momentum and everything's going amazing. Okay. So we have that pricing enhancement that happened. And it's all live, by the way. That was live July 1st. The system automatically adjusted for that. And so everything is good. Everything got adjusted. And so therefore, the ticket pricing automatically adjusted on the GMTSS. Okay. Okay. Now, another area that we got to talk about. Dress code. Dress code. I know. So exciting. Every now and then we got to do a reminder. Dress code. Okay. So what's the dress code at a UBP? What does the career manual say for a UBP? Does it say that the presenter needs to be dressed in business attire? And that's what it says. It says, but it doesn't say shorts and a t-shirt. It doesn't say, repping my famous, most favorite sports team or whatever's going on. We have to dial it back in. Everybody's got to be on the same page here. Okay. Like we 100% got to dial it in. So here's how we dial it in. It is going to be it's simple. If it's a UBP and you're the one presenting, by the way, it's business casual for people attending, business casual. Okay. And I know that means some different things in different parts of the country or in different markets, but the bottom line is, what is dress code all about? Who wants to help me on that one? Let's do that first. What's dress code all about? And again, you guys know I'm just talking through you guys, right? I mean, it's all good, but at the end of the day, every now and then we got to have a conversation. We got to set the tone. Thank you, Jen. Credibility. Yes.
Impression.
Professionalism. Yes. First impression. It is our first. It's just like, oh my gosh, you got to come to this unfranchised business presentation. You're going to meet the most amazing people. And of course, when somebody walks in, the first thing they're going to do, it's a visual. It's not a verbal. It's a visual of what do I think of the room? What do I think of the greeters? What do I think of how everybody's talking to me when I do finally talk to them? So we got to set the standard in our meetings and trainings. So therefore people are impressed. People are like, hey, I'm one step above the best dressed person in the room. If I'm speaking, by the way, if I'm speaking, that there was so many times I'm like, I probably could dress down for this one. I'm like, nope, can't do it. Cause I always got to be one step above the best. Cause I don't know if all of you are coming to the UBP, I don't know who you've invited. And all of a sudden you get that very professional person to show up and they're judging the whole thing. And I ruin it because I'm wearing, inappropriate attire. So we get that first impression. So we're at a UBP and it's dress pant. If I'm talking for men, right? Women, you guys got this. You guys are all doing a great job. It's pretty simple. But for men, like slacks and I've got a collared shirt on. You don't have to wear a tie. Okay. That's fine. But you put a sport coat on. It's a UBP. You don't have to do that in the home. Okay. Homes could be khaki and a polo. Dress the part. But if it's the UBP, put the sport coat on, and so they come in and their first impression is, oh, I want you to come meet the guest speaker. And now I look sharp. I look good. And now there's no downside. So my attitude is this for anybody who's having somebody that wants to have a discussion around it. Here's how I ask myself. What's the upside and what's the downside? And if there's a downside, then I would err on the caution. That's what I would do. If there's a downside, well, then you say, well, there is a downside. If I've just got the khaki and a polo on initially, first impression. Okay. Now, what if it's a local seminar, and I've got on the same attire that I wore to the UBP. Okay. So I've got, khakis on and a polo or a collared button up shirt, and I got a sport coat on to start the day. Great. Again, you don't have to have a tie. I wear a tie because it's the first impression. But then at the first break, I'm taking the tie off And, I'm going to be like, let's roll my sleeves up. Now, if I take my coat off and I take my tie off and then I'm like, take my sport coat up and I got my collared shirt on and I take my sleeve and I roll it up and I go, let's roll up our sleeves. And you guys ready to get to work? And that's the context. Great. Okay. No problem. But if somebody's going to go back to a polo, then I'm like, okay, maybe if, it's like, what about the t-shirt? Let's talk about that. Somebody says, well, can I wear a t-shirt? Is the polo or is the t-shirt branded Market America in some way? Great. But if it's branded to some sports team that has nothing to do with our company or whatever's going on, I'm just picking on sports. Okay. But we should be always branding our company as the point. We're the speaker. We're the one. And by the way, if I'm getting called up for recognition, this is a coring within your geographic area as well for like people and pin level, unfranchised levels and everything. It's like, again, we're getting evaluated as a whole. And so are we dressing the part, and during recognition? So it's good to let your unfranchised levels know, hey, we're doing a regional convention. We're going to do recognition on this day. Let them know, we're really wanting everybody to wear business casual. Business casual, you're going to go on stage. If you're speaking on stage, then go a notch higher. You're speaking on stage, look professional, look the part. And then therefore everything else will fall into place. Okay. So I'm just throwing that out there as a reminder. We got people inviting guests to all these different UBPs or seminars or whatever's going on. And again, it's their first impression as they show up to the event, no matter where we're sending them. So we got to get back to where everybody's 100% on the same page, looking the part. Everything's great. No downside. I've even seen people know when recognition is and they're a director and they go on stage and they're dressed in, khakis and a polo, at least. And then I see them like 30 minutes after that, and they're wearing sweatpants and they're, what are you going to do with the dash t-shirt or something? And I'm like, great. At least they got on stage and looked the part, and then they went back to their sweatpants and their polo or, whatever. Okay. I'm cool with that. But at least they were thinking about the whole room versus just them. And I know we live in a world where different things are accepted and different things are happening and this and that. But at the end of the day, we're going to set the standard as unfranchised owners, and that first impression, at least, is what I'm getting at here. Okay. And that's where it's at. That's why later in the day as a local seminar, even if later in the day I go khakis and a polo, I've already had the whole morning with the audience if it's a local seminar, so I think you're fine. That's, no problem. But I'm not going to start the day dressing what's the least amount I have to wear in order to get by for the day. I want to be thinking bigger than that, knowing no matter who's in the room, they're going to be impressed out of the gate. Okay. Okay. So that was dress code. Point of reference and communications to find meetings and trainings and what's going on in our area. Some areas have done an amazing job of this, by the way. And so high five to all of you that are rocking this, but doing great at getting email. You got an email group set up, or we're leveraging the Morris text group, the one way that's going out with that. Maybe you're leveraging WhatsApp, or WeChat or whatever's going on with awesome. Okay. As long as you don't have people coming to you saying, I'm unaware of something, because it's one of two. It's like, is a scheduling scheduled out far enough in advance? Everybody should have all meetings in the GMTSS for third quarter at this point, right? They were due a month ago. So everybody should have those locked in to where that can't be somebody's excuse as they're unaware, or even save the date. Like right now in the Southeast region, I know Beth and Pitt Black, their regionals in November, and they're not selling tickets quite yet, but guess what they've been doing already for a month? Save the date, save the date. So everybody's got it in their calendar, meaning nobody's going to come back later and go, oh, I booked a trip then I didn't know. It's like not possible. They've done it so far in advance that that's just an excuse. Somebody booked a trip when they knew the regional was happening. You see what I'm saying? Like there's no way. And that's the point, is like saving the date, making sure everything's locked in from that perspective. But how are we effectively communicating? How are we getting the message out? So here's what I want everybody to be thinking about. as you have a coring back with your geographic areas, okay, whether you're regional, you're a local, you're a UBP core, or where you're on Speakers Bureau, every single one of us can raise our hand and say, I got an idea, or I got, like, how can we make this better? Communication or a promotion it's not singular. It shouldn't be singular. What we should be asking ourselves is, how do I make it a conversation? If you're taking notes, is what we're doing in our area a conversation of always something popping up every couple of days in everyone's face to where they're a part of the conversation? Or was it a 1 or 2 time promo that happened over a 3-month period and that was it? You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's got to be a conversation. It's got to be a constant and not annoying, but again, just a conversation where people are getting the message and they're recognizing what's happening. So number 1, if you're taking notes, hopefully you guys are, we must understand the why. Everything we do goes back to the why. Why Market America? Why did JR start Market America? Why are we doing it in our area? Why are we have a GMTSS? Because it's a third leg of the stool. This is how to accelerator. This is the accelerator to your business to pour gas on the fire and grow faster than you've ever grown. But you got to plug into the GMTSS. That has to be the narrative that we're duplicating out. The energy that we sell products, we sell the business, and we get everybody trained. Our GMTSS, second to none. Second to none. We just brought on a brand new guy to the company, Chief Growth Officer, Raj. I was going to have him on tonight, but he didn't work in his schedule because he's been working around the clock. But you guys are going to love him. Some of you have met him, but some of you haven't met him. This guy, unbelievable. Not only is he first class from an energy and just a nice guy, but he knows how to build in the field and he knows how to work corporate. He's managed a team of 150 people that worked underneath him in a corporate structure for a small company called Amway for 25 years. This guy's going to be a stud for a fresh perspective, outside looking in, what's working, what can we tweak, whatever. And by the way, when I spent an hour with him on a online session when he first came on the team a couple of weeks ago, and he could not believe our GMTSS. He is like so geeked out. Like this is the absolute most unbelievable thing ever created in the history of the world. No joke. And he's not blowing smoke. He's like, within Amway, it's a total shit show. The trainings are, because it's all about making money. It's all about closed meetings. It's not about teamwork. It's not about, you know what I'm saying? Everything we do. And he's like, how do you manage it? How do you guys, I'm like, let me show you our EFR. Let me show you our bonus system for how we're bonusing the speaker or the coordinator. And he's like, this is brilliant. What you guys do is absolutely. So what we do, you guys, it's amazing. He absolutely loves it. And then he adds some tweaks to it, which I'm going to share a tweak here in a minute. That's absolutely brilliant that he brought it up, by the way. So just know when you guys meet him, he's going to add huge value to all of our businesses. Because again, fresh perspective, but he's a guy that's going to roll up his sleeve and come in the field with us too, by the way. But he's also going to help internally because he's good at systems and structure, which is awesome. Okay. So how are we communicating? How are we getting the message out? We got to lock that in. Okay. Recognition. Everybody should be aware that we have recognition PowerPoints within our GMTSSelite.com underneath local seminar, district, regional recognition slides. Okay. The reason why everybody needs to be using the same slides is because we made enhancements to that and we added retail into recognition. And I know I've mentioned this a couple of times, but just making sure everybody's on the same page. Retail, how much people have retailed needs to become a huge component in what we're doing within the GMTSS. Okay. Huge. By the way, at UBPs, please stand, please recognize some retail profits similar to what we do at seminars. It doesn't have to be a huge, long thing, but here's the tweak. And Raj brought this up and I was like, yeah, that's brilliant. Okay. So, well, he said, how do you recognize customers at your UBP? And I said, yeah, nothing standardized. And he's just like, yeah, that has to be, you guys got an incredible customer base here. You guys actually do things by the book, the way it should be done. And yet how many people come to a UBP that are a customer? And I said, well, probably 50%. I mean, because our ratio has always been around 50%. He's like, so if you have 10 guests in the room, 5 of them are probably existing customer, and now they're looking at the business. And I said, sure. And he's just like, why not have one of them stand up and share their name, where they're from, background, and give a 30-second testimonial on a product that what product do they love? If they do say something wrong, okay, don't embarrass them, but you just say, that's awesome. It worked so well for you. Just everybody remember, we can't treat or diagnose. And then, we're good to go. The point though is customers are just excited. They're a testimonial, but so we know it validates our products, but it also validates to the customer that this business is awesome. They're like, man, maybe I should be an unfranchised owner. This is absolutely amazing. They just recognize me and I'm just a customer, like checking this thing out. And yet, yeah, I know I came because I have a testimonial on whatever product line it is that, I love. And that's why I'm here. But of course, I didn't know anybody was going to call on me. See what I'm saying here? Like there's a few layers that happen here. So whether it's your home event, whether it's a UBP, GMTSS seminar, whatever it might be, customers, it's a great way to recognize customers. Okay. And so you could do that during the recognition segment at a local seminar, for instance. How many of you are guests in the room? They raise their hand and you say, fantastic. Are any of you guests in the room here because you had an incredible, result on one of our products? And they raise their hand again. And you say, fantastic. Who would like to share for like 30 seconds? Quick. Like, I don't have a heart attack, but like just, why you love our product. And then boom, you got to have a mic runner ready to go. Okay. And then we get a testimonial. And that's awesome. And then I would highly suggest that they write a testimonial up on our website, that goes on for whatever product it is. We need to get better traction on our website. So that leads me to my second point. My second point is we need to get every unfranchised owner to treat the business like it's our business, like we're the owner of the entire company. And if we're proud with what we're doing with each step of cultivation here, then we're rocking. And I know many of you guys are. Again, you guys are amazing. Okay. But again, we got to duplicate that out, meaning we get the customer gets results. And then what happens? Did they give referrals? Did they write a testimonial for the website? It's like, look at the website. Did they write a testimonial? You know what I mean? It's just like, we just got to get some people like get to the finish line. You guys are amazing at getting through the finish line. Now we got to duplicate that out better because we need better traction within our testimonials on our website, and we got great ones. Don't get me wrong, but let's face it. If any one of us pull up OPC3 or a vitamin D or something like that, there should be 1,000 testimonials, not hundreds. There should be thousands. But again, out of sight, out of mind a little bit. So this needs to be part of the sales protocol, because I think some people think through the finish line is I made the sale and I followed up and now they've reordered. So that's through the finish line to them. We got to get the narrative to be through the finish line as they wrote a testimonial. They've led you to referrals. Now, that doesn't mean what they did was wrong, though. You know what I'm saying? Just keep the energy right. But we just got to like, if we're duplicating the basic 5 in training, we got to get people through the finish line. So recognition is huge. And we got to make sure that, we're spending the time and we're making sure we're nailing that. And at the end of a UBP, if the UBP is rocking and we're on schedule, and as a matter of fact, we might even be done 5 minutes, maybe earlier, then if I've got 15 executive coordinators and above, by the way, right? Hey, if you're retail, if you're a guest here, retail, like do that first, made retail profit, hey, if you've sold more than, it's in a monthly, right? So if you've sold a couple $100 this month, stay standing, or whatever, based on when you're doing your UBP. But we validate that people are retailing the products. And then you say, hey, coordinator, we get to executive coordinator, please come in front of the room. Executive coordinators and higher in front of the room. Like there should be like most of the room, like all the guests should be looking around going, oh my gosh, we got so many people rocking this business at that UBP. And then we're going to call on some people. I'm going to call out some people. Now, if I got time, I'm going to call out more than 3. The last UBP that I did in person at a location, I let the whole front of the room talk because there was about 15 people standing up there and you got 30 seconds. I'm going to let everybody talk, but we got 30 seconds because we were done 10 minutes early with the plan. So you just let everybody talk and to share their story and their background, because see, we don't know what is going to resonate with that guest. None of us can predict it. We don't know, but everything is about managing time and getting to the meeting after the meeting and making sure that we're helping people sell tickets into the, sell products, sell the tickets, and next step, get them to host something at their house. HBP, UBP, hit the bullseye. That's the key with that. Okay. Question for everybody. What do you think makes somebody great at selling tickets? Like when you're sitting at a seminar, or when you think back to your past, or even something recent, what was it that made that ticket promotion, or how they framed it out, or how they did it, so awesome that you were like taking notes and going, I'm stealing that, selling tickets, the art of selling tickets.
They share an experience with it.
So they share so when they share an experience about what somebody's going to get, what they're going to receive by attending the event.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. Because it is always what's in it for them and what they are going to experience at the event that they're going to, whatever we're selling, local seminar, district, regional, icon, leadership school. What else?
Yeah, excitement, urgency, excitement. Gary Rogers is coming to town, and you got to see this guy because he is amazing. He just was here in Wisconsin, and he was amazing.
There you go.
Excitement. You got to be there. You got to come with me.
So that's awesome, Vicki. Thank you. Beth Black put in here the ticket segment that got her with Stacy Tung. And what Stacy Tung did is she had people stand up and say, with this ticket, and then they filled in the blank and they shared a testimonial of what that ticket meant to them. Okay. So when you think about your local seminar, when you think about, your regional, when you think about when we stair step stuff, right? These are all great things to steal. How do we implement that? How do we get people to fully and 100% engage at the absolute highest level into the GMTSS? And again, we have area. I mean, we got some areas, you guys, that are back, all fully back to what they were pre-pandemic, totally rocking, stair stepped it, and now back to what they were pre-pandemic. But I want everybody to be back to that and then double. And everybody who's back, they're doubling, they're rocking. But it takes all of us in that area. But a piece of it is the art of selling tickets. Put the ticket in the guest hand. Absolutely. I love that one. You got to let go. You got to let go. Put the ticket in their hand, Hobie. And then you let go, and then they take ownership of it. Where else are they going to go get the education that we offer in a Saturday seminar or at Icon? Okay. We over deliver on everything we do. And the reason I'm spending time on this, you guys, is because some of us have been around a little while. And sometimes when you're around a while, kind of lose a little pizzazz. Maybe we could be the common denominator. Maybe it's our energy around it, or maybe the events that we're putting on aren't hitting the level we want them to hit, which, by the way, that brings me up to my next point. As people are still firing in the chat. I'm going to go to you in a second, Beth. Today we just finished an event evaluation form for all audience to fill out, all audience. So when we have a local seminar, one of the slides in the afternoon, not at the end of the day, because people are going to get in a hurry and leave. Okay. But when we do our announcements and we do our acknowledgments to our volunteers and all of that, we're going to flash a QR code and we're going to get feedback from the audience. And that's going to go right to the GMTSS department at corporate. And it's going to go back to the local coordinator. And it's really just a way for us to measure, monitor, control, and adjust. Where are we hitting the mark? What did the UFOs think? And what did the guests think? And we ask people, are you a guest? Is this your first event you're attending? We get some questions, but then we're really asking about the event. Did we hit each aspect of the basic 5? If I'm a speaker, I want to know if I fell short in a spot. And if one person said it, not so worried about it. But if the whole room says, like, yeah, no, you hit the basic 4, but you missed number 5 because I had to skip it because I got too long-winded that day. Well, then that's on me. I got to be better. I got to hit all aspects of the basic 5, you see? So these are areas that we're going to have to measure, monitor, and adjust, but it's awesome. This is, by the way, this came out of strategic planning. Oh, by the way, let me just say this. Can I brag on you guys? Are you guys okay with this? At strategic planning, I got up on day 2 and I shared the GMTSS State of the Union address to the 22 of us that were there. And Mark and Lauren loved it. They were like, they started chanting MVP. They were like, Cullen's the MVP, you know, and I'm like, I don't care about Cullen. It was like, you guys, the GMTSS, because of where we're going, because of what's happening in areas, you guys, we're rolling and we're headed the right direction. And that's because of all of you. Every single one of you making a difference, whether you're GMTSS, whether you're part of the ASPC team, the T team, you know, you're on the speakers bureau and you're on here tonight. Whatever we're doing, not about perfection, but it is about progress. It is about making every event better every time. That's it. And that's what you're doing. And that's why you guys are on here. And that's why you guys are so committed. But I will tell you that when we look at it overall and we look at where we were, what we went through, and where we're headed, you guys are doing amazing. Okay. And so there was major kudos going to the GMTSS, every level of it, by the way, in every way. Okay. And so just know a lot of love going your guys' way. Okay. So even though I'm on here and we're hammering out some coaching points and this and that, just know that there's a lot of amazing things going on. And we know the level of commitment each and every one of you are bringing to your geographic areas and leading the area and creating an environment where people want to be a part of your local GMTSS, by the way. That's what we all have to do in growing a GMTSS team. You know, well, I'm having a hard time growing my GMTSS area. I'm like, well, you're the leader. They should want to follow you. You should make it so enticing that they can't wait to be on the team. These are the brainstormings we need to be having in a geographic area if you're having a challenge in an issue. Okay. So I want to bring that up. Like we all have to bring our creative juices to the table to say, what can we do to turn this thing up a notch? You know, and people want to be a part of our local GMTSS. They're begging to be a part of it. What are the benefits? How are we structuring this thing? And by the way, that's from the top down. And so that's something we're working on from corporate as well. I can't share some things, but it's going to happen. But we have to identify where we're at and how are we making the biggest impact? How can our area be the top in the whole, you know, North America, let alone the country, you know, let alone the world? And like, let's go. We're making it happen. Okay. So we're going to rock that part out. Okay. Grace, you got your hand up? Beth Black did, but then she took it down. So maybe I hit it.
I do, Colin. Hey, I just wanted to mention something about more towards Icon, but this relates to any ticket sales. You know, we do this as a team and we have kind of a motto of leaving no one behind. And so as we're going out and promoting and talking to everybody, we want to find out what obstacles they have in getting to either the convention, or it can be any meeting, Colin, but is there a ride problem? Is there an arrangement problem? But that's one of the best ways to attack it. Our team's motto is leave no one behind. And so we get out there and you should see what happens as the team comes together. Somebody says, hey, they can ride with me. I'll go an hour out of my way to pick them up. Whatever it is, just make sure you're finding out why they're not. Because the number one is fear of missing out. You know, we want to promote it in that way, but then what is their obstacle? If they can't leave till Friday, is somebody else coming Friday? Can they ride with them? Those kinds of things. That's all I was going to say.
I love it. I love that. That's so huge. What's the reason that's preventing you from being all in on your why, on your goal statement, you know, and they go, well, this or that, whatever they say, it's like, okay, we're looking for people, by the way, and you guys know this, but we're looking for people that are solution oriented. We're looking for people that are looking for the way to overcome any obstacle. And then you have people that are going to come up with an excuse, no matter what ways you come up to overcome the obstacle. So you find out very quickly if somebody is great at being resourceful, which is all of us, which is why you guys are on the line. But then you find other people that no matter how resourceful you are to help them, they'll find a reason not to. And again, what else were you going to say? That's why you just head it off and say, well, you're in the right place at the right time because we know how to be resourceful here. We're going to help make this thing happen. We're going to help sell your way. We're going to help do whatever it takes, as long as you're willing to do whatever it takes with the team. Nobody left behind. I love it. Beth Black.
Thanks. I was just going to go back to the tickets in front of the room. One of the things that we found out was very powerful is about 50% of the people that were coming to the front of the room at the end of the UBP or local for recognition would actually have a ticket or tickets in their hand to the next event. So no different than Drayton and his team did at leadership school. We actually brought the ticket in front of the room. It was in their pocket or behind their back or something. They didn't have it visible until it was their turn, and then pop it out and say, this ticket got me, followed by 1 or 2 words or a short phrase. And then as you get into the other pin levels, they had their 30-second commercial ready to go with that. But it might just be, this ticket got me the ability to stay home with my kids. This ticket got me the ability to be able to be by my mother's bedside in her last weeks or whatever. That was the bullet that sold tickets galore for us.
Man, that's so great. So great. I'm glad you guys are sharing some of this, I mean, I know sometimes we don't want to go long, but these are the nuggets where everybody's got to steal from each other and say, how do we implement? How do we do this better in our area? How do we turn things up a notch in order to make it happen? You got a few kinds of UFOs. We have some that are brand new and go now and making it happen. And they're excited. They've got what we call the juice. They are fired up. They're juiced up. And then we have veteran UFOs, and some of the veterans have the juice and they're ready to go. And some veterans are more in retirement mode. And God bless them. They've earned the right, and it's all great. But you got to identify who are the ones that have the juice, no matter who they are. Who's got the juice? Who's bringing it? Let's make it happen. Let's link arms. Let's have a ton of fun in the process and provide an environment. It's all about the environment. People love the environment. They're coming back. If they didn't love the environment, they ain't coming back. I don't care how great it was. See, one other thing we're going to be implementing here, that's going to be a work in progress. So if you're taking notes, this is a work in progress. It's going to take programming. So please, nobody contact me right after and go, when is that happening? Because I don't have an ETA yet. But one thing we're looking to do is make things simpler for all of the GMTSS coordinators. And one thing we want to do to make it simpler is one thing that came up at strategic planning is we don't have a great way to track attendance and our exact numbers of what's going on. And the number one thing that the internal GMTSS team spends a lot of their working hours doing is tracking numbers down and information. And so, so we need to automate that process. So we're looking at automating the process to where any meeting that gets submitted to the GMTSS, once it's through the final approval process, will automatically generate a QR code that links to that meeting automatically. And we'll use that to register people for the event when they show up. So what'll happen is we know what happens. And this is what we love as a coordinator, right? Is all of a sudden the meeting, we're 9 o'clock start and it's 8:55 and 50 people all showed up at once, right? So this is going to help that too, because everybody's going to go on their phone. They're going to scan the QR code. You got QR codes out, and then they go up and they scan it. They answer a few questions about who are they, normal questions that, and then it goes right into the spreadsheet, automatically collects it. And then the person at the registration table will be able to see everybody who signed in online, and then they just present their ticket. And then we give them a name thing, and then they go in the room. And then it'll automatically track, like whether they're a UFO, they're a guest. If they're a guest, or, were they a customer first? Just some data points. So that way we can track it and see what's going on with our attendance. Okay. So in order to test this, by the way, I'm already testing it this weekend at a couple local seminars, to where we've created a Google form and duplicated the process. And we want to see how it flows and how it works and what goes on. And that way we can learn. So as we program it internally, we can make this as turnkey as possible for the registration team, but also for the company to track, because we just want to see what's happening. It's like, okay, you got 5. Remember how I sent out the email when I was asking about low hanging fruit. And I said, how many of you have guests? Who are your top people bringing guests? What's happening to the guests? I mean, if somebody's showing up with 2 or 3 guests to every UBP and yet not closing any of them, and we can track that internally, then we can provide support. We can figure out what's going on. And is it a tweak on the UFO? Is it their follow-up? Is it a tweak on the system? Is it the same person showing the plan? Where we got to find out. It's like, oh yeah, that person, the same person showed the plan all 3 times. And I go back and look, and sure enough, same person showed the plan all 3 times. And it was a 3.5-hour UBP and nobody's closing. Well, that's an easy fix, but I need to know there's a 3-hour UBP happening. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, what is going on here? So anyways, the bottom line is a lot of it'll be little tweaks, but we want to be able to track the success and what's happening. And internally, it's going to give us the database to do it. And then we don't got to track down numbers. All that'll happen automatic. Anyways, that'll be a work in progress though. That won't happen overnight, but it'll be a high priority. It'll be a priority 1 because Mark and Lauren and all of us were talking about it and they all loved it. They were like, that would be amazing. And I said, well, you can't. And here's the deal. We can't put it on a coordinator to follow up with everybody in their geographic area, not their job, right? That's a full-time job. So what can we do corporately to help with that? And, or if we identify certain UFOs that are bringing the guests, we can get their upline vested interest involved too. And saying, hey, you got a UFO over here, man. They're bringing some guests. I'd be calling to follow up. If they're not calling you for help, you need to go help because they could use some help to, help the, anyways, guys get where I'm going. It's going to be awesome. So, and again, anything we can do internally to streamline and systemize things to where we spend less time on admin stuff and more time on showing the plan, selling products and selling tickets. That's the bottom line. Building in the GMTSS. Okay. So trying to think if I've got anything else as I look at my notes. I think that's it. That's everything on my list for tonight. I just want to, again, say thank you guys for all of your commitment, all of your support to your geographic areas. Listen, it's making a difference. We had a lot of starfish out there that we're changing lives with. And so it's further validated that as I started to analyze more numbers on what's going on within the system. I will say, as we close it out in full transparency, the local seminars and our regionals are increasing and numbers going up. UBPs are where we have some that are doing well, but we have a number of them that they're averaging, 20 UFOs and, 3 or 4 guests, which is good as we're coming out of this. But as we all know, those at 20 need to start to go to 25 to 30 to 50 to, you got to ask yourself, if you're bringing guests every time and some guests are converting, then we're losing UFOs. And why am I losing UFOs? So that's why the season pass has to be sold and people have to commit. You're not committing to come to 1 or 2 UBPs. You're committing for the next 6 months or 12 months. Are you part of this team that we're going to commit, make it happen? When people commit, when we all had to commit back in the day, guys, then we grew because we were a little uncomfortable or I'm showing up without a guest. And now next month I'm showing up without a guest again. So there's some layers to that commitment that once we get people to make that commitment, then all of a sudden success starts to follow the commitment. See? But if they don't make the commitment, then they're to show up when they feel like it. That's never going to make it happen. So I already know it's an outer ring activity deal too, leading into the UBP, which is why I started with that tonight. And that's why I'm like ending with it, just to draw a little more attention to say, listen, our UBPs, we got to show some love. We got to get committed in that area. We got to get more leadership in that area. And again, speed of the group, speed of the leader. And then we got to find a couple diamonds as we find our diamonds in the rough. And with the diamonds, that's where we lead to 10, 20, 30 people, like in the next 2 months, showing up to that UBP extra. In addition, that UBP is jumping to 40 to 50. Okay. And again, we have some areas doing this, but they're not the majority. So that's where we got to pop that number off. And that's where it's a little bit fascinating for me how the locals are performing so well, but that yet the UBP in that area might be doing okay. Kind of like it's backwards. But it's great from a local standpoint because the locals are growing and we got that attendance happening there. But I'm like, where are we missing it on the UBP? Yeah, it's the outer ring activity. Anyways, so that's what I'm going to close with tonight, and I'll stop the recording.